So, at that point, we were in the penitentiary in Leavenworth, and he said, look, if you're going to be on the street, I want you on the street the right way. And it was at that point that he proposed me for membership in the family. And that's how things kind of started for me.
Wow.
Now listen, how old were you when you became a made man?
I was, when I became a recruit, I was 22.
Yeah.
And I took the oath when I was 24, 2 years later.
All right, so listen, how do you, your mindset, like my mindset.
Yeah.
So I'm a made guy in the neighborhood. Nobody could with me, put their hands on me, but I could with you. How do you do that? Look, my mentality. I'm a young 20-something-year-old guy. Hey, I don't like this guy, but I love his girlfriend. Kill that motherfucker. That's my main time, you know what I mean? If I want this, kill them. You know what I mean? If I want that house, he has a business, him. If I was a mob, so does that thought goes through your mind?
Mike, now, honestly, I got involved in a life really to help my father. I mean, that was my whole motivation.
Oh, see, I would be so self-absorbed and stuff from the mob. If I was in the mob, I'd be so self-absorbed.
Yeah, but you know what? It happens.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's a rush because, you got a ringside table wherever you go. People give you a lot of respect. And, you try to carry yourself the right way. You don't want to abuse that.
How do you do? You never had that before, and all of a sudden, boom. It's never like this. I give you a little bit at a time. It's just all at once. Boom. You're made.
Yeah, but understand, I grew up with it. I mean, look, I spent my childhood in the Copacabana meeting everybody from Sinatra on down. So, my dad was that kind of a guy. I mean, when he walked into a place, I mean, he was a different guy.
Respected.
People really looked up to him. They really respected him. He carried himself well, and he was a tough guy. I mean, there's no question about it, So, I mean, I grew up around it, and I really admired and respected my dad. But when I got into the life, I wanted to, number one, I wanted to get him out of prison, so I worked hard on that. And number two, honestly, I wanted to be the best possible mob guy I could be. So
What's that consist?
Yeah, what did that mean?
In that life, you kind of make your own way. They had guys, I'll give you an example. I took the oath in 1975, right, on Halloween night, actually. There was 6 of us that night that took the oath. And we had 115 made guys that actually took the oath. Out of the 115, 20 of us were earners. The other guys were just...
That means you bring in money.
Yeah, we were earning. We were earning really
gotcha.
for everybody else. The other guys who got him a union job, who was doing a little bookmaking, trying to scratch out a living. So I was determined to make money, and I had a head for business, and I used the life. I knew how to use the life to benefit me that way. So I took advantage of that. And I got involved in a lot of different things, and I came upon a scam. I'll tell you what happens, Mike. There was a guy, Italian guy around me, right? He kept coming to me. He had a couple of gas stations on Long Island. He had like a wholesale operation. So he comes to me and he says, Mike, I got these 2 guys from another family. They keep trying to extort me. He said, you got to help me out. Because I was kind of the guy on the island when I moved out there. I did some research on this guy, and I found out that he had testified in a civil case against the governor's brother at the time. So I didn't want to have anything to do with him, right? He kept coming back. He said to me, listen, if you help me out, I got a way to defraud the government out of some tax on gasoline. So he got my attention, right? I hated the government. So I said, well, explain it to me. So he tells me this little thing. I said, all right, we're going to go into business together. I said, I want to form a new company. That's it. So I get rid of the 2 guys that were bothering him. I didn't get rid of, I made them go away. And I put this guy, Vinny, around me. I had a guy around me. He was a big guy, right? He was a butcher. Big scar across his head, a real,
Sounds gnarly.
Yeah, a real 4-bar. I says, Vinny, watch this guy, Larry. Let's see if he's got something. Tell me what he's got. About 2 weeks later, he comes to my house on a Saturday. He used to bring me meat every Saturday. He was my butcher. And he's got a box on his shoulder. And he rings the doorbell.
You're hoping it's money, right?
Yeah, no, I'm saying, what are we doing with all this meat? We having a party or something? I don't know about it. He says, hey, Chief, come into the kitchen. It ain't meat. He puts the box on the table. He opens it up, $320,000. He said, this is the first week's take in the gas business. Smelled like gasoline, right? I didn't care what it smelled like at that point, but he got my attention. So what happened, Mike, over the next 8 years, I took that from $320,000 that week to almost $10 million a week. We had about 350 gas stations.
How many people were getting that money? How many people did you have in your crew that was getting that money?
Well, I was supporting a lot of people, the guys at work, and I was kicking up to the family. I was giving them $2 million a week. You got $2 million a week, it buys a lot. Of loyalty, as you know. You know what I mean? So
I would think hell yeah, I would say, go ahead, man, do what the fuck you want to do.
yeah, I mean, And so they made me a captain. 1980, they elevated me to that position, and I grabbed. I got a deal with all the Russian guys out of Brighton Beach. They were my partners too. They were great partners.
Like, can I stop you real quick? What does it mean as a captain? Do you have people under you?
Yeah.
That's what.
I'll tell you the rank. You got a boss, an underboss, a capo regime, a consigliere, and consigliere rather, and a capo regime. The capo regime is a captain, and then the next official position is soldier. So when you come into the life, when you take the oath, you become a soldier, and then you either stay that way, or you go up from there.
And when are you made? When are you a made guy?
Listen.
At any point?
No. You got to
You
go.
can't be a
time-
soldier.
I'll tell you what happened.
Time, I guess.
When my
Yeah.
dad sends me, now Joe Colombo had been shot, if you remember. He was
70s,
seriously
right?
wounded. Yeah, 71.
Oh.
And Tom DeBella was the new boss. He took over. He's dead now. And I sat with Tom, and he says, Mike, I got a message from your father. He said, you want to become a member of our life. Is that true? I said, yes. He said, here's the deal. From now on, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you're on call to serve this family. That means if your mother is sick and dying, and you're at her bedside and we call your service, you leave your mother, you come and serve us. From now on, we're number one in your life. Before anything and everything. When and if we feel you deserve the privilege, the honor to become a member, we'll let you know. And you're in a recruit period where you have to do anything and everything you're told to do to prove yourself worthy. And listen, people ask all the time. The number one question, Mike.
Kill anybody.
Did you ever kill anybody? No, I got three top questions. Number one, did you ever kill anybody? Number two, where's all your money buried? And number three, where's Jimmy Hoffa buried? Those are the three top questions all the time. I can name them wherever I go. It doesn't matter. So, after about 2 years, I proved myself worthy, and then we got called in it was Halloween night, 1975, in a secure place in Brooklyn. And we all took an oath.
So then you became a captain.
I became a soldier when I came in 75. In 80, they elevated me to position of
Did
captain.
your father know Luciano?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Your friends? Huh?
Yeah, my dad, 102 years old. He's the oldest living mob guy in the world.
What year
Not
was
only.
he born, your father?
He was born in 1917.
Yeah.
1917.
Now, when you start figuring out, because you could basically do anything as an earner.
Yeah.
You can make. It's just about how you make the money.
We couldn't get involved in drugs.
Okay.
At that time, we were told straight out, if you get involved with drugs, you die. It was hands off. Now, with guys doing it, they were doing it on the side a little bit, but it was crazy because I seen a lot of guys get killed over it.
Yeah.
Were you and John Gotti associates?
I was friends with John. John and I tell you about John.
Why do we like him so much? No, I'm just talking about the psyche of the society.
Why
do
is
we
he
like
out
him?
there so much?
I think number one because he made no bones about who he was. I'm a mob guy. I'm gonna die a mob guy. I don't want to be anything else. That's it. So he was true to that. And the way he carried himself, he just he became a media star, and he kept beating the government, and you know what I mean. But socially, he was great. I had good times when we'd meet in clubs all the time. Business, he was very hard to deal with, very hard. But we got along. We had a few scrapes, he and I. But I like him. I like his family. I still know his family.
Were you all locked up at the same time?
Yeah, we were.
Were you locked up in the same place? You see each other, play cards?
We played card. Yeah, we were in MDC together. We were waiting trial. Yeah,
Were you ever locked up with Sammy?
I was. Yeah.
In the same place, touching distance? Yeah, what was that like?
I always say this. On John Gotti's worst day, he was a better guy than Sammy.
Yeah.
On his worst day. I mean, I wasn't a fan of his. He had kind of a Napoleon complex, and he was a small guy, and he was just very arrogant. So a lot of people didn't get along with him, I mean, he was a different crew than me, but we still didn't get along. But I'll tell you this, Mike, I don't know how you feel about it, but here's a guy that admitted to 19 murders, and the government makes a deal with him and puts him back out on the street. I mean, this is the
When
United
they want it,
States.
they
You're not
want it
supposed to do
Gotti.
stuff
When they
like
want you, they want you.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. 19 murders, you make a deal with a guy like that and put him back on the street. And you know what he was doing? Then he got involved in ecstasy
Yeah,
in a club that I was involved with on Sunset
Phoenix?
Boulevard. No, the Key
In
Club.
LA? Yeah, I know the Key Club.
You remember the Key
I know
Club?
the Key- Sunset.
I was involved with that, and they were selling ecstasy in the club. He just got out about a year ago, I think.
Oh, Sammy?
Yeah.
He's still here on the street now?
He's out, yeah. Yeah.
Is the idea of, letting a guy like that out, letting him come back to society, is the idea that you're getting something bigger in return? Like, what is the psychology of that system?
They needed Gotti. I mean, they wanted him. He beat them so many times. He was, thumbing his nose in their face, and they wanted him, and they were willing to make a deal with anybody. Really.
Yeah.
You know what happened? I'll tell you what happened in our life. There was a lot of respect. There was also a lot of fear. What happened in our life when guys on the street started fearing the government more than they were fearing our life?
Family, yeah.
That's when everybody started flipping and turning, and it was unbelievable.
When did that change happen?
Really in the 80s, when they started using that racketeering law. I was in the next cell with Sammy, and I'll never forget. We were in NDC, and we were talking through the air conditioning vent, not air conditioning, whatever it was, in the floor, because you couldn't talk at a wall there. But we were talking, and for some reason he didn't sound right to me. Just things were not sounding right the way he was talking. And then they came and took him away not too long after that. But I kind of resent this because people say, oh, the younger guys really couldn't stand up like the older guys. But my answer to that, 30, 40 years ago, you got 10 years, you got 15 years. Anybody can do that. You do 7, 8 years, you get out on parole, you go back to your life. Today, they hit you with a RICO charge.
Get to 60 years.
You got 20 years right off the bat, no more parole, meaning you're doing 17 and a half minimum. And if you get 20 on a RICO case, you're lucky. I was facing 150 years.
Wow.
And they would have gave me every bit of it. Because when I was in MDC, I'm watching these guys going to trial, Mike. They're coming back 300 years, 90 years. I said, man, I'm the youngest guy. They're going to give me 5,000 years here. I'll never get out of jail. But, I took my shot anyhow. I mean, I took a plea and I did my time. But fortunately, I beat him a couple of times, so they wanted a conviction on me. But that's why guys didn't stand up. Nobody stands up. It's very hard. You know one guy that stood up? My dad. My dad, they can give him 5 million years. He's never saying a word to anybody. He was that kind of a guy.
Why do you think it's necessary for people need to live that life? They need to make sure that they feel there's something. I'm not doing this code. I don't care. They can kill me. Why do you think they have to have that mentality?
To be part of that life?
Yeah, no, just that mentality. Like some people, that's not even part of life. That's like that. Why would somebody want to do something like that?
You mean to be involved in the life or to be an informant?
No, don't give a fuck. I don't care if they give me 100 years.
There's just...
a lot of people say it, but a lot of people not like that.
No.
Then you meet one rare guy that's like that.
Yeah, and that's my dad. Well, Persico Jr., my former boss. I mean, these guys, they're old-time guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I'll die in jail. That's it. My dad, the worst thing you could ever call him is a snitch or an informant. You can call him anything, never that. He just can't accept it. It's not part of his mentality.
Why do you think people take the lifestyle? That lifestyle gave them honor, you believe? So that's why they think it's so sincere. Yeah.
Hey, Mike, you know what the best thing to happen to that life on the street? The movie The Godfather.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. I was younger then. It was in the 70s. But Joe Colombo was involved in that movie. I remember.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. He actually edited the script.
Oh, wow.
He took the original script, had the word mafia all over it. He took it out. He made changes in it. And they had no choice. They had to do it. But after that movie came out.
Did it change the family?
After that movie came out, guys started to walk differently. They started to dress differently.
People treated them differently.
They treated him differently, yeah.
Listen, I can remember being black and from Brownsville, being a mafia guy, that's fucking like God. You can get away with anything. The cops fucking was nice. You never got a ticket. The cops brought you presents, brought you tea or coffee. The cops. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nice.
True.
Yeah.
True.
All the celebrities, all the Vans, all the big kind of guys respect you. They
Right.
do business with you.
Yeah.
They don't know your fucking name or anything. But
It's the truth.
They don't. You don't even meet them. You meet their fucking boys. Their business partners or their lawyers do business with you.
That's the truth.
Imagine living that
Yeah.
life. That's all. Everybody, the Irish guys, all those guys, they wanted to be involved. Everybody wanted to be involved with the mob. They had a history of that. You're gonna make some money being involved with these Italians. They're gonna get you money. You ain't gonna go to jail either.
And the reason for that, the reason for that, there's these other groups out there, but if you take the drug business away from them, they all collapse.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking, I'm just saying that's the truth.
Yeah.
But with us, we survived and prospered for well over 100 years under some very tough conditions. The reason for that, we infiltrated every fabric of society, from the White House right down to the guy on the street in the numbers business. We control the unions in this country. You control the unions, you control the country. Because you got all that money behind you for political purposes to buy your way into things. You got everybody at your beck and call. You call a
Can't
strike.
get shit built.
Yeah,
Without
that's right.
the union.
Can't get shit built, man. They building every day, 10 millions of times. You can't get nothing built. The country stops. We stop
Stops,
eating.
yeah.
Ooh, you don't want the country to stop. It's a motherfucker. Man.
You
We
call a
back to
strike with the
slavery.
Teamsters?
We beyond slavery.
You call a strike with the Teamsters, you got 2.5 million truck drivers stop.
Yeah.
You call a strike at the docks, nothing comes in and out of the country. That's tremendous control.
Yeah, definitely. Take us back into, you became a captain. You're earning a lot of money, a lot of income for the family. What are the businesses then? What are your options? What did you do?
Well, like I said, I had a head for legitimate. Look, I had a gambling operation. I had 12 or 13 bookmakers working for me, And the reason for that, if there's a bookmaker on the street, we're not going to allow him to operate unless he's kicking back to us. So they're all
Obvious,
associated. Yeah. So we had a bunch of
Obviously,
bookmakers.
that's cool. That's cool
Yeah.
stuff. That's rational thinking, though.
Yeah, because look,
In that word, that's rational thinking.
Yeah.
Why would you be on my corner? This is where I make my money. It's my family live that. Why would you be here selling money and we're not getting a part of it?
you might understand.
That's rational.
That's the way it went.
Yeah.
I had a head. We had the union. I had a lot of union control too. At one time, I had a security guards union with me. We had the security guards in 9 nuclear power plants around the country.
Whoa.
So 9 nuclear power plants were controlled by a mob-controlled union.
Wow.
I don't know if you know the deal, but with a nuclear power plant, after it shuts down, you have to have security there for 100 years.
Whoa.
That's the law. Even after it shuts down, they don't use it anymore because of, it's toxic and all that stuff.
Radioactive.
So, I had some union control, and, I had a lot of legitimate business. I had a bunch of car dealerships. I had a leasing company.
What kind
I
of
had a few
cars you
restaurants.
sold?
I had Mercedes, and I had Chevrolet, a Mazda. I had a big leasing company, so we were doing that. And I had a production company out in L.A. We were making movies. And, you got a couple of restaurants, and you got a piece of stuff, because guys are coming to you all the time. They're looking for money, so you give them a few bucks, you take a piece of the business, and that's how it goes. And I was very aggressive, so I had a lot of stuff going on back then.
Did you ever meet the guy, the Iceman?
I never met him.
Your crew, though.
Yeah, he was around us. You know what, Mike? I don't think I met him. I really don't. But
been around you. Then
yeah, and I didn't know at the time. Sometimes you don't talk about a certain guy, but
Yeah. Oh, man. I mean,
What did your father think about Capone?
my dad's funny. He didn't think real highly of him.
That's weird.
Yeah, he really did. And
Interesting.
Capone came out of New York.
Yeah,
you know
Brooklyn.
that. Yeah, he came out of Brooklyn too.
Yeah,
He
Brooklyn wasn't that tough.
No,
Wasn't that tough in Brooklyn. They had to leave Brooklyn. That's the reason why
that's
they went
right.
to Chicago. Yeah.
That's right.
oh, interesting.
Mike knows. That's
yeah.
right.
Interesting. How far back? What's the lineage? How old is the mob?
It's the beginning of time.
Ancient, right?
Mafia
Yeah.
started in Italy with the French. But imagine it had to been back then with Hannibal during that time too.
Yeah. Like
How do you
underground.
not have secret societies when you have civilizations,
Yeah,
right?
way back. And then, they immigrated here to America, and it started in the early 1900s.
Huh.
1900, I don't know, early on.
American mafia and stuff.
Yeah.
It's American mafia, but it hasn't been going on since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
And how could it not be going on? Probably big business is a mafia now. Corporate America's mafia now. If you don't do
Yeah.
this, we sell you out. We'll crush you. We starve you out if you don't take this deal.
Same Machiavellian thought process.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What is the state of it now?
You know, it still exists.
Uh-huh.
It's certainly not going away in my lifetime, but it's not the same.
Huh.
It's really not. You know, the government did I guess you got to say, a good job starting in the 80s. And I give Giuliani the credit or blame.
He put the last dirt
Yeah.
in the coffin.
He really started to use the racketeering laws effectively. It was him. So, you know, he puts...
Created them pretty much, huh?
Yeah, you know, and he was Italian too. He just he gave the story that he visited Joe Bonanno and he got insulted over Bonanno's book that he wrote that time. So he decided to go after the mob. But I believe, you know, that was he came down from Washington to become the U.S. Attorney in Manhattan, so high profile, and he picked the biggest high profile organization. He went after the mob and made headlines, and it was good for his career.
Huh. Now, is a guy like Giuliani in danger of, you know, having a hit put on him or anything like that?
You know, in our life, we really didn't go after law enforcement. In Italy, it's different. Italy, they kill everybody. Family, government, they don't care. But
Wow.
yeah, they don't care. As a matter of fact, they wanted me to do a book signing in Italy, and I said, "You guys are out of your mind. You get a body double or something. I ain't going to Italy because they don't care over there." But we never did that. But the one guy, there was two guys that were high profile like that there was a hit on. Or they were thinking about it. One was Giuliani, and the other, believe it or not, was Geraldo Rivera.
Holy.
Really?
Yes. And I told him this when he interviewed me once. I said, I was on Hannity with him.
Oh my God.
He almost,
I know you shitted him.
Mike, he almost died.
Yeah.
I told him off camera. I said, there was two guys, Geraldo, that we really hated. One was Giuliani, and the other was you. And he turned white.
I'm sure. I'm
I said, but
sure.
you're okay now. I said, they're dead, so they ain't going to hurt you. But
Geraldo Rivera tried so hard when he was coming up and he had his show. He just wanted to be accepted, so he wanted the crowd to love him so bad. He just wanted everybody.
yeah, he was...
Yeah.
He made his name on the empty safe. Remember
Al
Capone's safe? Yeah,
Al Capone.
yeah.
If anything, you would have wanted to work with law enforcement as much as possible. Yeah.
Well, you know what happened? You know, there's so many guys. Look, we had 5 families in New York, and among all the 5 families, we had about 750 guys that took the oath. Actually, took the oath. We had a lot of associates, but there were so many of us that we had so many relationships. I had cousins that were cops.
Yeah.
You know, we had
Yeah.
neighbors that were cops, so we were able to get around them. They liked us, you know, so we were able to move around pretty good.
Well, you know, it was they did the scientific study and they realized like a cop's psychology and a criminal psychology is pretty much the same.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? They're pretty much the same.
yeah, I
Makes
see
sense.
that. It makes sense.
Yeah.
You got to have a certain mentality to be part of that. I mean, look.
Yeah. Well, that brings me to my next question is you cross paths with Donnie Brasco?
Yeah.
What was that like?
What
I
was
talked to him
that
on the
like?
phone before.
Did
What was
you?
that like? Yeah, my friend that was an FBI agent was friends with him. I talked to him on the phone.
Well, I was friends with Lefty, you know, his main guy there.
Ruggiero, right? Ruggiero.
Yeah, Ruggiero. He was, by the way, a
Awesome
great
movie.
Great movie.
Amazing
That was
movie.
amazing.
One of the
Pacino-
best.
They
I think that
they made
Pacino-
him- the guy Lefty, they made everybody fall in love with Lefty.
That was Pacino's best role.
Yeah,
as
they-
a
He's
So
so
better
good
than
in
The
that.
Godfather.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah,
So
fucking
good.
Lefty.
So good.
But so I crossed paths with him because they were from Greenpoint too. Once or twice in that life, I always tease him now. I said, "Man, I'm so glad I didn't do business with you." But I've done a few things with him afterwards, you know. And,
I said, man, didn't you feel sorry about Lefty, man? That's what I said. Didn't you feel sorry about him, man? He said, yeah.
He did, yeah. Him and Sonny Black. He said he felt bad, but you know he had to do what he had to do.
Yeah.
Because you know, Lefty didn't get killed over that, but Sonny Black did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in the movie where it shows him taking off his stuff like he was going to get killed, he died of natural causes. But Sonny Black got killed over Donnie Brasco.
I'm glad Lefty didn't.
Yeah.
Wow. How was that a 1 in a million thing, or did that happen a lot? A guy.
It didn't happen a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, they just didn't do their homework on him, you know. They really didn't. I mean, you got to go back. You know, I don't know if you noticed, Mike, they had a big undercover investigation on me to get Don King. It was
Yeah.
called shadow boxing.
Really?
Yeah. I'll tell you how it happened.
That'd have been so fucking interesting.
No, I tell you, Don, he's pretty smart though. They send these two guys to me, and they tell me they want to get into. One was an undercover FBI agent. The other was around Muhammad Ali. The guy by the name of Reggie, I forget his last name. They took him out of prison because he knew the boxing game. And they come to me and they say, look, we got money. We want to get into the boxing.
They let him out of
They
prison.
let him out of prison. They said, we want to be in the boxing game, but we want to go at the high level. I said, well, who do you want to meet? They said, Don King. So I romanced these guys for about 6 or 7 months before I would bring them to Don. I get a hold of Al Sharpton, who was running with us at the time, and I said, Al, you got to
They
set
showed
up a
him
meeting.
doing
That's
some stuff too.
interesting.
Remember
Yeah.
they showed him and he had the cowboy hat on,
Remember
sitting
that?
down with the undercover FBI.
Those were the two guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were the two guys because they posed as drug dealers from
Oh,
South America that
was
cleaned up
beautiful.
their
That was
act.
beautiful.
So I tell them, I said, look, I'm not going to bring you to King unless I see the money. So the FBI sets in a bank account up, and they show that they got $15 million in the bank. So Sharpton sets up the meeting with Don, and we go to see him. Before I let these two guys in the room, I go see Don. I said, Don, listen, I only traced these guys 6 or 7 months. I verified the money, but at this table, don't say anything out of the way. Talk straight, tell them how the business runs, do everything legit, right? And he does. He doesn't say anything wrong. He does everything right. And we walk out of the room, and now I'm getting them. I say, you got to put up the money. And the FBI wouldn't allow them to go that far, and then the whole thing fell apart after that. But they.
What do they do? They just fucking look at some papers and say, let's get in there. What do they do?
They just start these
have a
investigations. They think
list?
there's something up. They start an investigation. They see where it leads. That's it.
So that wasn't. You never heard of another instance of a guy infiltrating or.
You know, not to the level that Piston did. No, I mean, like, he was. I mean,
Some
it was,
people tried to become turncoats and got
Yeah.
messed up.
I mean, they
Did your
were-
father tell you about the Relish guy that fell out the window? Did
Who?
you remember that time? Kid Relish. Remember the guy that was
oh, A.B. Relish. Yeah. They threw him
Father
out.
told you about those?
Yeah. Murder Incorporated and all that stuff. Oh, yeah. No, but with, I mean, Piston, they wanted him to kill somebody. They were going to bring him on a hit, and they were going to make him.
Oh,
They were going to straighten him out.
oh,
I mean, he got that far, and obviously they had to stop at that point, but he got that far.
wow,
They really accepted him. Sonny Black, I heard, loved him.
wow.
So tell me, do you have some people that are just born enforcers that and get involved
Embrace
with
the
them all?
violence.
They just want to embrace it.
So there was guys there that
Roy DeMayo, did you know him?
I knew Roy.
Was he really that kind of guy?
He was, yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
How violent was it? How prevalent was the violence?
Tell him about Roy DeMayo and stuff.
Roy DeMille, yeah, he was his crew was the wild crew. I mean, they chopped up bodies, they put people in cement. I mean, they went the whole distance.
Yeah, they're touching these people, cutting
Yeah.
them up. That's crazy. Their guts and everything.
And Greg Scarpa was a guy with us. They call him the Grim Reaper. He was another guy that he was tough to be around. You know, he had that kind of that cloud over him. You know what I mean, Mike? It's kind of like the
Death
cloud.
aura.
Yeah, yeah. They're actually trying to.
What you say, right? Be careful anybody outside the crew what they say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was kind of one of those guys. You know, there was some guys that I know that just enjoyed that, and there's other guys that just did what they had to do. I mean, we were all capable. We had to do it. So it's
Were you ever in a room like in a basement, you saw a guy get put to sleep?
yeah,
Yeah, that must be a trip, right?
yeah, it's tough.
That's always where it happens, you know, in a building there, you never saw it before, then you see it go down, you be like, wow.
Hey, Mike, I tell you, you know, one of the horrors of that life. You know what happens? You don't know you're in trouble. Your best friend walks you into a room. You don't walk out again.
Oh,
So when I had an incident where some Newsday article came out, paper on Long Island, and they said that I was making billions of dollars. So the boss, Persico at the time, was kind of questioning me. He says, Mike, what's going on? They're saying you're making billions. I said, Junior, I'm giving you $2 million a week. You're not happy? I said, I'm taking all the risk. It's everything here. So one night, I walked into a room. I didn't think I was going to walk out again, I'll be honest with you. It was kind of that death walk for me. And people have said to me, why didn't you cut and run? It was robotic. It wasn't like, you know, I'm a macho guy. It was just, hey, if this is it, this is it. Because where am I going to run, right?
What happened?
Well, I'm here, right? So it was all right. But no, they started questioning me about money and grilling me with my Russian partners because, you know, they had tried to go to my Russian partners to see, and they were pretty loyal to me. So they told them, no, everything's on the up and up. So they were trying, I was a younger guy, they were trying to scare me a little bit at that point, make sure they knew who they were the boss and so on and so forth. Because I was, I had a pretty big crew at the time.
They were a little jealous too.
A little jealous. I didn't want to say it, but you know how it goes in that
Yeah, I
life.
do. A lot
But,
of people get killed just because of jealousy.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
It's
I mean,
jealousy.
a lot
How
of
can
guys
you be
went
jealous?
down for the wrong reason.
Imagine you see a guy that started out, you started out before him, he was a fucking guy hanging out in the cold. Next thing you know, he got a fucking club, he got a business, he got all these fucking bitches on him, and nice cars and stuff. And you started before him, you was here before him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I started, I mean, I had a jet plane, I had my own helicopter. I was driving all the guys around.
We all started from nothing, now he got that.
Yeah.
Enviness is starting to go around.
And the old timers, they kind of resent that a little.
Uh-huh.
I was a younger guy, They
Yeah.
kind of resent it, so
So
you always
who's
had to
the
be
guy-
careful.
Oh God, imagine the old man. Who's the guy that used to be with Luciano and all those guys? Carlo Gambino. He must have hated your guys, boy.
Well, I
He
didn't.
must have hated. Look at your guys were out there. He was always the quiet guy. He must have hated your guys showing
Yeah,
up all that
he
stuff.
he was a guy that the money's under the mattress, and I'm just a salesman and nothing. He didn't want to be by. He was that kind of very
You know
low key
Joey
guy.
Milano and those guys
Yeah,
in Philly and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I knew a lot of the Philly
They were
guys.
fly guys. We all respected those guys too.
Yeah, Philly. I spent a lot of time there. Upstate New York, Russ Buffalo. The movie that's coming out now is all about the one that Scorsese did with Netflix.
Irishman.
Yeah, the Irishman.
Oh yeah.
It's gonna be a
Who's the
good movie.
Irishman?
It's gonna be a good movie. That's the guy that allegedly, killed Hoffa.
All right.
Huh.
So he wrote a book, and they're doing a movie. Everybody's in it now. It's going to be a good movie, no doubt.
Oh, Scorsese always comes through.
Yeah.
Oh, Goodfellas,
Goodfellas, great movie.
Casino. Who would you guys kill, and why would they be killed?
Well, you're told straight out. Obviously, you turn snitch, you're dead. You get involved with drugs, you're dead. You dishonor another man's wife
But
or daughter.
how do you, if somebody say a lie to you, how do you get out of a lie? How do you prove this guy's lying?
A lot of times you got to lie to prove that you're innocent.
You
I
can't
mean-
say prove it. How can you?
Well, here's the thing. When you sit down with another made guy, we have a sit down or we have a dispute, right? You're a made guy, I'm a made guy. If I call you a liar, I lose the argument. At the table, you always had to be respectful. You couldn't call somebody else a liar. You had to try to outsmart them to win your point. Because if you break the rules at the sit down, you lose automatically. So you had to learn how to be very cagey and very technical, not to fall into a trap, not to let somebody get you so upset that you
So you
name.
telling me, what's this guy named the Anastasia guy? What's his name? Albert. You telling me Albert Anastasia talked down and had a decent conversation with a person?
Can't do it at the table. I'm telling you.
Oh, you
Now maybe if you're the boss, you do what you want, but you're not supposed to.
Really?
Yeah, you can't.
It's
I
all
can't imagine
honor.
this guy
and-
not yelling at somebody.
I know.
From everything. Wow.
And if you yell, you're gonna yell in private.
Yeah.
There was a lot of times when another made guy, I called him every name under the sun. But if we were with people, never. But it was just me and him in a room, because then I call him a lie, he calls me a lie, we each deny it, there's no problem. But you can't do it in front of another guy.
It's all honor and,
And that's
respect.
been that way since the beginning.
Yeah, oh yeah. Even more so among the old timers than now.
Yeah. Oh, wow. It's such an interesting world, man. And
Did they like Luciano? Did your father like Luciano?
Yeah, my dad liked him, yeah. Liked Lucky, liked
How did he feel about the Jews and stuff in the game?
he knew Lansky, liked him. Yeah, he told me about him. He thought he was a very quiet guy, Lansky,
Did he know
very
Seagull?
reserved. Yeah. My dad, he's so old, he knew everybody.
what was it that got you into prison?
I ended up, they took me to trial 4 times. Giuliani tried me on a big case. I beat all 4 cases.
Wow.
And after they were coming after me on the gas business, and my partner was turning informant. He got locked up on another case. They pulled him out. We had a compound in Panama, and we were actually paying Noriega for stuff.
Wow.
And so when he went on trial for some other deal that he had, and halfway through the trial, he says to me, "I'm not going to jail." He says, "We got a compound. I'll run everything from there." So he leaves. He goes to Panama, because at that time there was no extradition between Panama and the United States.
Huh.
But you know what the feds did? They went in there in the middle of the night and they kidnapped him and brought him back to Florida.
Wow.
Put him on a plane. broke the door down in his house, pulled him out, put him on a plane, brought him to Florida. As soon as he got there, he started flipping on me.
Oh.
So I knew I'd have a problem with the gas case. So after I beat Giuliani's case, I had leverage with the government because they wanted a conviction. So I made a deal. I got a 10-year sentence. I had a $20 million restitution. I had to give up the plane, the helicopter, and I went and did my time. But
What year was that?
that was I took the plea in 85.
Oh.
And I did 8 years on the 10, which was maximum. But I just knew that the life was in trouble.
Oh.
I said, forget it. I get convicted here on something, they're going to give me 100 years. I'm dead. So I had a shot to do it, and I said, let me take my chance. I'd rather do a couple of years in jail and come out and at least have a life. And I was still a young guy, at that point. So.
Do you remember the hit with, what was the hit that when he took over, when Gotti took over, and Tom?
Oh, Paulie Castellano?
remember
Yeah,
that? You remember
yeah,
that?
Sparks, yeah.
You
Yeah.
knew what happened when that
Yeah,
happened. You
we
knew what
all-
went down when that happened.
We all knew it, yeah. We all knew it. Yeah, when things like that, the word circulates quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do families have fights, like say the Gambino family and the Lucchese? Do they ever have wars with each other? No.
That stuff ended back in the 30s and the 40s.
No
Whenever
more
there's a
fighting
war,
with each other, right?
no, it's always a civil war. It's always within the family.
Huh.
Power usually, who's going to be the boss. And
Never
we-
against another family.
No,
anymore.
never with another family, at least not in the last 50, 60 years. But we were a pretty rough family in that regard. We were always killing each other, always.
Huh.
Did
Over.
something happen like this? Say I'm a Lucchese, you're a Gambino, right? And we're in family, we're cousins. We're cousins. And you have a problem with a guy. And so, and I'm mad because you're mad at somebody. So can your cousin kill him?
Yeah.
That happened before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I figured that, yeah. 'Cause I'm sure that would happen. My family, this guy pissed me off. He did something, he killed my friend or a family member.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always helped each
Yeah.
other out, stuff like that.
What? So the stuff between family members, that was all. Somebody lied to somebody, or dishonored.
Business dispute,
Business
you're in
problems.
my territory, this belongs to me, and you shouldn't be involved. The deal I had
Oh.
with Gotti, we got involved in a flea market, believe it or not, which was big business in New York. I don't know if you remember in Brooklyn. Big business, right? So I had a guy in there, he was an accountant, and he had two partners. One of the partners was, he was a drug addict. He was selling drugs in the flea market. So a guy comes to me, he says, Mike, if you get rid of this guy for me, I'll give you a piece of the market. I said, okay. So we chased the guy out of the market. About a week later, I get a call from John. He's, Michael, that kid is with me. I said, John, how's he with you? He never mentioned your name. He's dealing drugs. You're not supposed to be doing that. We threw him out. No, he's with me. I know him a long time. He only made a mistake with the drugs. He's not really a drug addict. I said, okay. I just look at his arm, but anyway. So we have this whole big dispute over it. We had to sit down with the boss and everything. So what I said, look, I can never get along with John in business. I said, so I'm going to ask him to buy me out. Knowing that John would never take that. I don't buy you, you don't buy me out, I buy you out. So at the end of the day,
Did he have a big ego?
oh yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he really did, Mike. I got to say it. I mean, look, I admired the guy. I'm not talking negative about him, but he had a big ego. Yeah,
Tell me what he used to say. Did he say me, me, me? That
yeah,
kind of shit?
he was.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he was. But he was fun to be around. I mean, he was good that way. But so he ended up buying me out of the market, and he took it over, and they collapsed about 3 months later. But they probably took everything in the market and brought it home. Who knows?
But it got a little sketchy for a minute.
Yeah, yeah. But again, it was never like.
Did you ever meet Carlo Gambino?
I met him when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because Carlo died in '75, but I
76.
met him with my dad. Yeah, '76, somewhere around there. But yeah.
Well, from
Very
the
quiet.
outside in, it can feel like every moment is a life and death moment.
Yeah,
in the
right. You
moment.
never know.
Is it that way?
Life
Does
is
it
in
feel
the
that
balance.
way when you're in it, or are you just accustomed to the stakes, so you don't think about it that way?
Well, you do at times. You look. You always have to be a little bit on edge. I don't know if that's the right word. You got to be on your guard always, because if you make a mistake, especially if guys are gunning for you. Like I said, I'm a younger guy. I'm making all of this money. Like my boss kept wanting me to introduce my guy Larry to him, the guy I was partners with, and I would refuse. I said, look, I don't know if this guy's going to stand up. If I bring him around everybody and he goes bad, I'm going to be in trouble for it. So I said, I'll keep him with me. And that was a good excuse, so they could never meet him, because I know why they want to meet him.
They wanna shut you.
Yeah, at some point in time, they
They'll
take
pat
him
him
from
down,
me. You
yeah.
know, they take him away from me. But so you always got to be watching yourself. You know, you can't make a mistake because you pay with your life. So you got to be very careful. And you know, I'm that way even till to now. I mean, I'm walking
You
down the
must have been
street.
nervous when one of them said, "Can I talk to you for a minute, please?"
You know,
That must have been a trip.
You don't want anybody
Can I
talking
talk
to
to you for a
you.
minute, please, Mike? Yeah, that's some crazy shit. Never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Look, I had a good guy around me that I knew all my life, and he was involved he got involved in a case with the boss's son. It was a drug case. And so he came to me, and he said, Mike, they're going to kill me over this. I said, they ain't going to kill me. So my father,
Talk about it.
that's true. My father told me from a young age, if you and I did something, the minute it's done, 30 seconds later you ask me about it, I don't know what you're talking about.
That's crazy.